Our team, welcome back. Data-driven framework, day 2. So team, data-driven framework is a very simple, one of the most simplest frameworks. And we are day 2 out of maybe day 5. There's a lot that we will be learning as part of the data-driven framework. What all will we get exposed to? The first and foremost is the programming behind. So we're going to move from our simple Selenium IDE into Selenium WebDriver along with Java. So you'll need to be having Eclipse IDE, and we didn't talk about Eclipse IDE earlier, right? And how install and code Java, JUnit, testng. And team, when you hear all these words, remember a couple of things. One, at the outset, they may seem to be very hard and tough to learn or concepts, but as you delve deep into them, you'll realize that, oh wow, this is pretty simple. So focus on what we need to learn. We will easily get to that slowly. All right. 7:30 a.m. Okay. All right. Now we will also need to understand how to download Selenium WebDriver jar files and the corresponding browser jar files. So team, a lot of this needs to be done. Once we know how to build a data-driven framework, we need to understand the application, yes. We need to understand the test case. What is the main scenario? And in this case, we said simple EMI calculator. And it's a mortgage EMI. Team, do note, what domain does it belong to? There is BFSI. What's BFSI, team? Banking, financial services, and insurance, that gets covered. And there's another industry called a mortgage industry. All right. So this specific application comes into the mortgage industry team. It still may have a wider category of the banking, but it's still under the mortgage industry. Now, what are the couple of first things that we need to do, team? How many of you have Eclipse everything installed? I'm just checking on the chat. Give me a second too. Most of you've got it installed, which is good. Some of you might not. I will quickly show you. It's not rocket science, so for us it should be easy. Create variables, build, test data, execute test case for one set of test data. Read, write test data from an Excel file. Repeat test case execution for each set of test data. Get the report and export back to an Excel file. We will need to be getting towards this team, and then of course we need a lot of jar files, mainly Apache Pui HSSF. The team is also using XSSF recently, team. Now, all I'm trying to tell you is it'll take us another 3 to 4 sessions to go through all these. By the end of the data-driven framework, there are a couple of things that will get um, really well addressed, team. One, Selenium WebDriver is just a bunch of commands, so we don't have to bother too much. Your programming, how do we program, how do we write code, will get ironed out. You will know a lot about variables, objects, how we create methods, how the entire conditional statements will work, how do we do loops so that we can repeat the things for that given set of data. All these things will get very easily ironed out. And then once we get into keyword driven framework, we're going to take this learning and apply it into a much more complex algorithm. And all these algorithms are about how do we build the programming logics into them. Team, now let's go about. Let me start with what we need to install first. The first and foremost thing, team, is get your Java down. The team, the basic Java that you will download helps you to execute any Java application. If you do not have Java installed in your machine, you cannot run applications that have been built over Java. The easiest way, team, for you to find out is go to your command prompt, type cmd in your Windows, and once you enter your command prompt, just write Java. Right? It must give you details of the installed version of Java. Otherwise, it would say Java unrecognized. If you do not have Java, team, the first thing is download Java. All right, go to oracle.com or go to the link that I've clicked on. Click on free Java download and continue with it. Install it straightforward. All right, everyone. That kind of becomes mandatory. However, a lot of times when we have our JDK, Java Development Kit, then almost everything will get installed with it. So team, let's start writing notes here. One, check for Java, command prompt, type Java, and check for all resources. Else, download and install Java. The second, what we're doing is Java. So this for running any Java based applications, right? Now the second one, so if you have a Java program, if you need to run anything, you need those two, is JDK or Java Development Kit. So if we are a developer, then we need JDK to be able to write, save, right, and execute Java programs. Now you're more of a developer. So to develop Java programs, you need JDK team. And again, you just do a Google search, it'll take you to Oracle because it was earlier Sun Microsystems, was part of Oracle team and long before. Look at only one thing, be careful in terms of your bit size, 32-bit or 64-bit. Typically, these links do recognize what bit machines you're having at your end. Also remember, team, there is JRE, which is Java Runtime Environment. So once we install JDK, almost everything will get set for us. Now, fine actually. I'm just looking at which JDK file are we taking. This is supposed to also give us as to see, once you install JDK team, everything will get installed. But one of the basic things is check if Java is existing, right? Do not get stuck at this juncture. It's one of the most easiest things you do. So take your latest JDK team out here. Do you see this? And download it. It's usually about 180, 190 MB. And I'm not gonna, okay, yeah. Once I click down, about 300 MB. Windows 390 JDK, it's 64-bit exe file. You need to download it and install it on your machine. Then comes your Eclipse IDE. Did we talk about Eclipse IDE earlier, team? Very briefly, maybe. I'll spend another couple of minutes on it. Nice. So go to eclipse.org. I'm gonna put this notes also down. Team, for some of you, right? I've been observing to try and see who's asking for notes or where's the research going. Even if notes are missing, you have the videos, so yeah, you need to go back and look at them. You need to put a lot of effort, team. Java IDE, your integrated development environment, and also ensure that you have Selenium IDE on your machine. Okay, these are essential to keep them team with us, because whatever we do here can be easily taken there. Next comes our Selenium HQ.org, and here we're going to download the Selenium WebDriver. Just making sure. Browser drivers, I'm not yet come to it. We'll come to it. I don't think we'll be able to execute anything on the browser yet today. We're going to look at the structure of the code, how we start creating a Java project and some Java code. Do we install Java and JDK separately? Okay. Here is what happens with the general audience. They get confused. So you want to install Java and then JDK, that is fine. You want to get towards JDK, that is fine too. All right. So follow that. First get Java so that you can run things. Then you install JDK. Okay. Go in the same format like I was showing you. So a lot of drivers you will find team for browsers and so on. We're not so worried about it. Get your main Selenium server jar file. And the latest version is 3.14. I don't think I've clicked on it. All right, about 22 MB downloading. The last one is Apache Pui HSS. This is a jar file which I'll explain during the time of how to read and write from an Excel file. Okay, so all of these are open source team. Oracle's Java, your JDK, your Eclipse IDE, Selenium IDE, Apache Pui, HSSF, all of these are open source. And what that means is it doesn't matter for you to get it onto any machine, how many times you want to use it. Ensure you get them team, because as automation engineers, this is what we'll be focusing on. Download. I'm just looking at, okay, you know what? I'll improve that search. Jar download. this. We'll go back, get link. We'll keep the jar. Control. All right. So team, before I go into data-driven framework, I'm going to briefly introduce you to what is JUnit, and then later test 10G. All right. Now to do JUnit, we need to be starting to the getting into the code factor. Let me write a basic Java program. Then I will write a basic JUnit program and show you the variation. Once we know the annotations in this, then I will take you to writing the Selenium webdriver commands in our Java project. All right. So here is what we're going to be doing. Any questions before we get going forward, team, in this direction? Any questions? Take a minute or two. I'm going to grab some water too. What to be installed from Apache? Okay, sure. Nothing to be installed from Apache. Just download this jar file. The latest stable release is Apache Pui 4.0.0, right? So go there and get either the tar distribution file or get a regular zip file. Source distribution binaries file. Just need the jar and select one of the websites or mirror sites and download it. Any questions, team, so far? I'll start going through a few questions, team, before we enter into our Eclipse environment. One of the reasons I emphasize on this aspect is this is kind of the division or the place where we get moving from manual to automation testers. All right, team. So a lot of focus now goes into how do we start coding. A lot of complex applications will come into. So I don't want you to get worked out. It may take you even a week or two to get used to that. So that's fine. Take your time. We'll work on them. Selenium IDE new release don't have menu bar. Search it in Google. Some of the suggestions says use catalog recorder to export files or Selenium IDE 2.91 older version. Installed older version and working in it. Is that be fine? Okay, this is a great point, team. See, Selenium IDE is critical for us for element identification. That's the main thing. The other thing Selenium IDE will help us, and let me document this also. Selenium IDE primarily I use for element identification. Okay. The second thing is exporting the IDE scripts to JUnit for WebDriver. There's RC codes and so on. There's also C#. There's I and so on. Different formats that you can export. Selenium IDE gives you that comfort. But team, if my Selenium IDE has the element identification, that is enough. All right. If it doesn't have the capability to export the scripts, the suggestion that's given by Vijay, and I would like to copy this entire thing. It's a very nice point and put it out here. We're going to get into Eclipse in the next couple of minutes, not couple, maybe 3-4 minutes. I'm going to try to ensure we get the question. Sorry, joined late, but last session we created an Excel sheet with test data. Yes. What's today's session? Are we trying to install Java and Selenium? We're not trying to install Java and Selenium. I kind of showed you how to. It's pretty simple. For that, if you have questions, we can. I'll have someone send you another video. I want to talk about how do we go about creating a Java project, simple one, and then how do we do a JUnit code? What's the difference? We're setting up the environment. Yes. Tomorrow we'll go back. I mean, in the next session we're going to go back and start writing the Selenium WebDriver code, link in and get with the application and start executing there. There's another question. This is another important question, team. And The answer to this is absolutely fine. But don't be dependent, and this is the reason, on Selenium IDE exporting your WebDriver script. The reason we should not care about that team is because your Selenium IDE can do a record or you can write a script. So you can record easily, export it, put it into Java, run it over. What else is there in automation? It will take me exactly 3 sessions, team, to finish till then. That is the beginning. And here is where it becomes very, very critical, team. Here's the other one. Karthik, in organizations, they won't allow us to download files from external sources and so on. Here's how it is, team. It is an organizational direction. Okay. Second, the most important thing is all these technologies that we're talking about. Java, Selenium, Eclipse, Apache are one of the most strongest built open source foundations globally. They're pretty trustworthy. Issues come in terms of development. What do we develop over them? What we develop using Java or Selenium turns out to be something that can crash any applications. You can write code and build programs that will crash anything. So that becomes a risk. But yes, you get your approval and they must install. There's no question. Not a single organization have I come to meet who have showed too much friction on this. If they're a .NET shop, then that's fine. We go to Visual Studio, we go to C# and so on. If you're a Java shop, this is the direction. All right, team, makes sense? I'm looking at the last couple of questions and then we can. Do you have any video how to install all software you mentioned like Java? Yes, I do have it. This is the other question, last one, and then copy this. See. Wait out here. Yep, there is a team. Honestly, now you don't need a long video for it. These small instructions that I'm providing are more than enough. Okay. Now let's start, team. Shall we start creating our first Java project? So what's the flow? How are we going to go? First thing, we'll create a simple Java project. All right. Second, I'll write a simple JUnit program. All right. And I'm going to explain about the annotations of JUnit. Why has it created? Why was it created? Who created it? Just primarily remember one thing. JUnit is an abbreviation Java for unit testing. About 20-25 years back, before software testing, I mean at least 20 years, 15 years back, before software testing quality assurance became a separate practice by itself, unit testing was the most common aspect. That is, developers used to test their own code before deploying in a different way, white box testing, regular testing, and so on. What QA engineers bring to the table is an assorted array of skills of testing. So we try and break things from everywhere. Developer does testing just to see if it's working, what they create. Ensuring if a thing is working to ensuring that the thing can't be broken are two extremely different things, Steve. Why a thing can work in one way it has to work, it will work. But there could be 1,000 ways that could not work. And that is where we try and break it. The Java for unit testing, developers started using JUnit. It was built for them. It is a Java framework. We'll come to it. The first and foremost thing, team, launch your Eclipse platform. All right. I'm guessing and hoping this is Oxygen. Under Eclipse, let's see which was the latest version that we have. Apache, the Selenium. Let's see. Okay, Eclipse. Just scroll down, team, on Eclipse. It's a simple, straightforward download, right? The most important platform. Okay, there you go. On the top right, you have download. It'll give you the option to look at. See, I think this is the latest one, Photon. Oxygen may be a little older one. Let us always take the latest one, team. That's fine. These are released products. This is not, so I'm sure they would have been tested. Download packages. Let's see which are the other ones. Launch of Eclipse. Okay. Eclipse IDE for Java developers. That's what we're doing. See, these are all smaller packages, team. Oxygen, Photon, Neon, all these versions are a total thing. Get the latest Eclipse IDE version, okay, for Java. And if Photon is the one, let's go with that, right? And I'm using Oxygen, a little older version to Photon. I launched it. Let me see. Okay, there you go, team. So this becomes your welcome screen as soon as you launch Eclipse. Now, like any typical application, a Windows application or an iOS application, you have your menu bar, all right? Lot of features, amazing. Look at the length of this file itself. Edit, source. You would not see applications with more options as a submenu item. Look at them: refractor, navigate, search, project, run, and this becomes a major focus area. Window and help. One of the first and foremost things, team, do not get bogged down or worked up because of seeing the enormity of so many options. That is the brilliance of this platform. It may take you a lot of months to learn and discover every feature of what Eclipse does. What we will do is focus on the most important ones and ignore the other beautiful features. See, team, if you want to start driving a car, doesn't matter if it's a simple Ford or a Ferrari. You still have to do the basic drivings, right? The additional features and the power and the packages that it's given to you are different. Learn them later, but let's get the core. All right. The first thing you do is go to File and create a new Java project. All right. As you go into different things, you'll see how we can create different projects. But right now, we're creating a Java project. Let's give it a name, team. I'm going to call it as DDF project 1. All right. Again, team, camel case I've used, and DDF looks ugly. So I'll get DDF. It's not correct, it's one word. Actually, this is the right format. What case is this, team? Camel case. What is camel case? First letter of every word is going to be uppercase, except for the first word. First word is going to be all lowercase. That's what. So then this is DDF project 1. It will ask you to choose your Java runtime environment. Keep it to the default one installed. So, team, first you need to get your Java JDK installed and then your Eclipse. Because once you open Eclipse, it needs to recognize these. Okay. Without your JDK, you cannot keep working on your Eclipse platform. So Java JDK is very critical, and then you can get into this. Your runtime environment is primarily where we run applications. Within your JDK, most of them should be included. All right, team, sorry. Just quickly checking my chat messages. Unless anything important, team, please not deviate me now. I'm going to take the last question and then I'm going to go through the session very quickly. So if we had an older version like Oxygen on a system, I'll read out the question slowly. So if we had an older version like Oxygen on a system, and then if we download the new version, what happens to older? A good question. It basically will overwrite. So your Oxygen will get replaced with, what was that, Photon? The new name? Let me close this chat box. Photon, yes. So it'll get replaced team. So you're going to use one. There are instances where we install Eclipse on different folders, and when we have Photon and this, it just confuses us a little bit. Stick with one IDE. All right. Once you create a project name, just go to finish team. Don't worry about too many choices. So like I'm saying, ignore. There's a time when you need to focus, there's a time when you need to ignore. If you stay down, try and learn every field and every aspect of this, it'll take you about 1 week just to learn that. We don't want you to get into that depth. We want you to get to the flow and keep adding the detailed specification as we go along. Finish. This is your welcome screen team that comes up as soon as you launch Eclipse. Once you create a project, ensure you close your welcome screen. It is a regular welcome screen. It talks about where your tutorials are, where your videos or programs are, how do we connect to Git and a few other things and so on. So research that later. The first thing is just close this welcome screen. This is called a perspective team, a view. All right, how we view. So what is a perspective? Let me give a simple scenario. This is my viewpoint. Now I could resize them the way I want and change and start putting widgets and windows and so on. Your perspectives can keep changing. That is in your hands. The most important aspect, team, look at what is it that it shows you. On the left side is your package explorer, where you look at all your files in one position. All your projects would be there. You could expand to start working on them. And on the right side, whatever programs you write, we're going to kind of start putting them there. Multiple tabs for each program. So basically, you're going to keep moving between programs and going along. How many of you attended the basic Java classes, team? The first one, too? Team, did you attend the earlier Java sessions that I did? A couple of them. Even if you did not, does not matter. We're going to take it from basic. I'm not teaching the core of Java right now. We're getting into how to run programs. What is the difference between Java and JUnit? We're trying to get into that. Once you create a project, okay, Java project is created. These are all Java projects. Second project, Org Java Training Math Project. The first Java project YZ. DDF project 1 is the one we are creating. In that, you'll see a regular library that you can expand on, like a tree structure. Your Java runtime environment system library. To run any Java program, you need the Java runtime environment. You cannot do it without. Now, it has this inbuilt some programs or scripts or jars or classes. Just consider them the way they are. We are not going to go and look at any of them. Even I have never looked at most of them. Unless these files are there, Java does not know how to execute. So just imagine, it's like a plug and play thing. So unless you get all the fitments into it, it won't work. So it is there by default. You don't have to minimize this again. The most critical one is your SRC or your source folder. Typically, all your Java programs that we write as part of Eclipse IDE structure, we'll put them under SRC. All right. Now what do? Right click on it. Oops. And say new Java class. Once I say new Java class, you have a few options out here. Source folder, package on the top. Okay. Source folder, leave it as it. Package, delete it. I don't want this package right now. I don't need a package. It's not mandatory. I take the default. Now, let's give it a name. What are we saying? DDF1 is the name that I'm going to use. The use of default package is discouraged. That's fine. I'll explain when you create packages. Team, A lot of what you will see will try and confuse you at the very beginning. Get exposed to the concepts of these folders, packages, classes. How do we kind of do a build and deployment a little later? Let us understand basics. So it's a DDF1 public, and then check on this one, public static void main. The first and foremost thing that you will see once this program gets launched, let me delete, I'll come to line 5. I'm not going to talk a lot about comments and so on, team, but I need to also talk about everything. Okay, let's go through it. Is this, all right? Whatever you gave as the name of the file comes out here. That is the first and foremost thing. That is your main class. Okay. Every Java program, and I'll try and take notes also, team. If I'm missing to take notes, then look at the audio and take your notes, please. Java program needs to have main class and a main method. Unless they're there, it cannot run. Now, what is a class? What is a method? What comes within each other? How do we create objects out of these classes? How do we instantiate them? How do we call them? We will come back to them. In this program right now, understand a couple of things, team. Next one. Block of code in Java starts with a curly brackets and see a block of code I'm saying, and ends with other curly bracket. So whenever you see a curly bracket, imagine that if the curly bracket has been opened up, it needs to get closed, and anything between it belongs to it. So now, for example, on line 4 in your Eclipse IDE, one of the best features it gives you are simple things like line number. There is no difference, team, between creating a program here or writing the same one in a notepad. It is absolutely one and the same. Then what does Eclipse IDE do? It gives you a tool where your programming becomes easy. It is going to guide you and help you through and through, which a notepad will not keep suggesting. Not only does Eclipse help you to write programs better, but also to run and maintain them in an overall build cycle. Team, simple words I'm using. I ain't using too much complicated jargon. I hope it's fine, right? You understand what I'm doing? Now, let me finish the block of code, then I'll come to the line numbers. When I went to the line number 2, and I just put my cursor on that open curl brackets, look at line number 8 and see how it is highlighted, that specific curl bracket. Let me go to line 8 and do the same, put the cursor there. Now line 2 is highlighted. What does it mean? From line 2 to line 8 is a block of code. They're together, they can't be separated. Within that came this line 4 to line 6. Okay, now see this block to this block. All right, everyone. Now, Eclipse IDE, one of the most important features, like I was saying, is your editor. Editor where you write the code. You will see there are different colors as you keep writing different types of text and objects and recognized keywords. That Eclipse IDE does. You could customize them. Right click on the line numbers or the area right here if you don't have. If you have the show line numbers checked, your line numbers will be shown up. What are breakpoints? How do we do debugging through our program? Execute them step by step is something we're going to delve into as we keep going along. But your show line numbers is one. The next one, you can go to preferences. Preferences is where your main editor is. So let's say you want to change your colors and fonts. I can edit it and I can choose what font I would want to apply. So let's say I want to change the size. The reason I put larger size is so that it's clearly visible for you as students. When I'm programming, I go to a lower size font. Okay. So all these basic features are available. Most importantly, get your line numbers. Right click, show line numbers. Font sizes, don't worry right now. Now, what is the first line that we can write? What we need to learn is the first line. See, is the comment. What is a comment line, team? Any line that starts with 2 forward slashes is considered comment. What does Java do with the comment line? Answer is nothing. It does nothing. Just ignores. Ignores like a comment or a side text. Comment is not code. Okay. Notes that we leave for other humans. Java has got nothing to do with it. So basic instruction, if anything starts with ignore what comes after. All right. I have another 20 minutes, I think, before I can end this. So I need to get to JUnit also. This is a simple commenting. First thing that we will do as a programming line is a print statement. System.out.println. What is system.out.println? How would you know that that would do something? When I'm teaching a command, then you know. When you're working, you would know. When you get exposed, you would know. This is your first main command. Hello. Starting coding. What this basic line, 1 second, my mouse is pretty. What this program basically does or line is it takes whatever you put in those double quotes, which Eclipse IDE luckily gave to us in the blue color text, and it's going to print that into this section out here called the console. I'm trying to find my mouse. Where is it? Okay, there. And it's going to print that here. System.out.print statements print whatever text you give within the brackets under the double quotes onto the system. Before I print that, there are a couple of things more. Every Java statement ends with a semicolon. That basically tells Java that, okay, you know, that line of code ended. If you notice, there is already a red mark out here. That is what Eclipse IDE does. As you keep programming, you may write code that is correct syntax or not. What is syntax? Way of writing structured programming. You know, it's not like a human where if you call me, my name is Karthik, like K-R-T-I-K, I may still respond. I may not like it, but I'll still respond. Java says K-R-T-H-I-K is different from K-R-T-I-K. It is a specific syntax. If you want to call something, use the right keywords. You cannot change the way we talk to Java. And this is the most important aspect. Quickly, I'm going to write this. Oh, I don't have. I don't think I can do a good diagram with this mouse. That's fine. You don't need mouse. I want to explain the architecture of how it works. Very simple. Your Java, oopsie. Something is not correct. Why is it doing right click this? I'm unable to draw with the team. Next session, I'll explain. Very simple team. Java. Java is a programming language, right? You write a program, it will run on your computer, Windows or Mac or Linux or Unix, it would run, or IoTs and so on. Now, if Java programs need to be executing on these, it needs to understand what you write. The whole compiler and the executor that you will see are trying to understand this stuff. The first comes syntax. If a syntax is not right, Java will throw an error. The second comes your, so there's first comes your syntax error. The Java says, I don't know what you're writing. Something not right with this computer. It's only doing right click. Okay. Next comes runtime error. Why is it just getting right clicked? I'm not understanding. Okay. I understood the code, but when running the program found a challenge. Right. And that becomes a runtime error. Now let's get back to IDE. System.out.println. See, there's a red line here. It is basically saying this syntax error. I do not understand a certain thing, is what it's trying to say. Public static void main, no team. I will not explain. Each one of them, it will take us another 3-4 days to understand. What is public? What is a class? What is static? What is void? What are arguments, input arguments? How do you send them in? How do you get them out? But the most important thing is the main method becomes the critical one which will get executed. In this, what is the first line of code that's executable? Can someone mention the line number, which is the first line of code that's executable, team? Is it line 4, 5? Line 14. Not line 4, not line 5, line 14. That's the first executable line of code. From line 5 to line 12, there are no red crosses. Here there is. It keeps suggesting you. And here is where you'll realize that Java is case sensitive. Now, there's something about case sensitivity. You always be case sensitive. Java is case sensitive, C is not, Python is, this language is not. Don't worry about it. Why will you change the cases? You keep the maintain the uppercase, lowercase team. Be very, very serious and critical about it. It is a discipline of a programmer which is more critical than what an IDE brings to you or a programming language. All right. You must develop your style of programming, and I'm going to guide you through this. Okay. The first thing is, let's take our mouse over this word called system and see what is the problem there. My mouse there. Why is it not recognizing? Usually it should come up. Okay, let's go here. What? It won't help me. Tell me what is the problem. It's just a mouse thing, team. I'm sure I'll fix this by next session. It's primarily an uppercase, is it? Let's semicolon. Now I'm going to save this. And team, so that we're not confused, I'll close the other programs. Add me, add members. Oopsie. And now when I run this code, so I saved it, now I'm running this code. And did I mention every line ends with a semicolon at the end? Your semicolon. Without the semicolon, Java does not know that the line ended. So it's going to search, go to line 14, start reading from the left side, all the way to the semicolon. This line, entire line, means one statement. Okay, so far. Now, I know, team, a lot of you are QA engineers, and that's why very critical that you focus a lot and go through steps. If any problem, step back, take a step back, come back again. This is where you need to focus. As soon as I hit the run, whatever execution had to be done is done. The line 14 print statement has come out here. All right. Now, I do the same. There's a shortcut to this called syso and then control space. It gives me the entire text. So the shortcuts to Eclipse IDE team, do not worry too much as we keep doing. My second, print statement, right? And then I'll do one more. So, see, my third. But in the third one, I'll do one variation. Okay. And I'm going to copy this. See, everything is with a semicolon at the end. System is uppercase, out is lowercase, print is lowercase. And I'll write this as print. It's print also. Print as well. Now let's see what would happen. Let's see. Now what happened, team? Hello, I'm starting coding. It came in the one line. My second print statement came in the next line. My third came in the next line. But my fourth came right after my third. Why did it do that? Print ln is basically printing into a new line each time. Ln is the line. Print is just printing wherever the cursor ends. So now just imagine if I put any other statement after this, it will come after that. So these subtle variations you will see in a variety, in a magnitude of fashion within Java's inbuilt library. Okay, lot of inbuilt keywords. All these are nothing but instructions that is already programmed within Java's library, which we will call and do an execution based on them. Right, team? So here's how we write a basic Java code. But now let's talk about JUnit and why does JUnit become a critical thing. In the same project, I'll go to source and I'll say new class, like we did PDF JUnit. In this case, I will not say main, but I'll say finish. JUnit does not need a main method. That is the first thing that we'll have to observe. The second is I need to download the JUnit jar file. I wish I had a little bit more time, team. I'll try. Okay. I'm going to quickly write the code, and you know what? While I'm writing this code, I'll download Java next. JUnit jar, search, download. Any questions so far, team? All with me? And team, we do have another couple of days break before our next session, from when we will not have a single break, at least 4 to 5 sessions every week. So during that time, get all this installed on a machine, team. All right. So you can download from any of the sources, team. That's fine. MVN repository also should be okay. The team, it's not that I know Eclipse very well or Apache or MV and repositories. It's just that how do we use Google effectively to search and find a solution? We must be extremely resourceful in our approach. Right? Testing frameworks. JUnit. Yeah. I want to at least run one JUnit file and show you the difference, team. That's my main intent. So then we can very easily write the codes. Come on, form, okay, jar. It's 239 kilobytes. Should be bigger. Keep. I should see the download folder. Any questions, please, before I go and show you the JUnit code? In is missing. Where is in? Another question, after downloading, where do we keep all of them? So see, same timing, I kind of open, I said show in folder. I want to see where these files are downloaded. As of now, I'm just keeping them wherever. As we go along, we will take them and move them into a proper place. Right, team? Our PUI, Apache Pui is here. I think this is Apache Pui. Selenium Server Standalone is here, which is good. This is definitely not our Excel, but I'm just gonna quickly open and see what this is. What is JUnit? Like I said, it is okay. What is JUnit as a name? My system is a little cranky. JUnit is a Java framework to help in unit testing. Okay, it's a very developer friendly Java framework. Very simple team. All it primarily does is annotations, and in the annotations concept, what to do before and after a given test is the core of JUnit. Then comes the other features. So this is downloaded. Now we're creating a JUnit class here. It shows a new version 4.1. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I downloaded a very old version. No? You know, why am I going to MVN repository? When is this 2012? Come on. No, that's not right. See, yeah. It should not be what 4.11 is fine. If it's 4.11, that's fine. Q&A and JUnit 4, JUnit 5, code and code issues, JUnit 4. So yeah. Let's see. I'll use the one I downloaded, 4.1. That should be fine. Now what do we do? I'll quickly write the code team and then I'll explain it to you. Okay. I'm going to introduce you to how we install jar files and a little packages. Could be a little overwhelming. Do not get too worried. Now, a typical, this, I think this should be up. This is right. Before. If it's not, I'll change it back. Let's look at this code overall. Package DDF project 1. See, earlier when I said during creating the first Java program, let's leave the default package and let us not write a new name into it. This got created, right? In the next one, I said, let us create this name. I mean, I didn't say it, but it came up when I said, I'm going to create another Java program. In that, I didn't give the package name. It took it by default. So that is why line number 1 is there. It is just telling where is that folder. Okay. In your Windows machine, where is this? Now let me see. Right click, properties. C: uses admin July Java training. It's all in the July Java training. That I didn't even talk about workbench. Just take any workbench. I'll talk about that a little later. But let me open Explorer. Another quick 10 minutes team, and I'm kind of running through things. C: users admin Eclipse workspace, July Java training. Under that, my DDF project 1. See, this becomes how the structure is overall. It's just a folder structure. Dot settings, we don't know. Bin, source, we saw. Class path project, don't worry about them. Just the fact that SRC is the main folder. Under that, DDF project 1 is subfolder. In this came the JUnit. So it's a structure thing, that's it. It just adds an additional layer of a folder to it. and it's called as a package within Java. Why is it important? So that we can nicely package everything and organize them very clearly. Now, what is it that it's trying to do? The first thing I'll do is I'll put a few print statements. Right before. All right. Now, is this code ready for execution, everyone? Is it ready for execution? Why is it not ready for execution? Because we have red lines. There is a syntax error. Unless we fix the syntax error, we cannot do anything. Java kind of helps you, team. I don't know why my mouse is not friendly enough with me. Okay, there you go. I took my mouse over it before. It says create annotation before, fix project setup, and so on. The primary challenge is your JRE, Java Runtime Environment System Library, has built-in commands for the basic Java. Anything additional you want to do, you need to download that specific jar library and put it out here. So JUnit is such an additional library that you need to plug it into Java to make it work. So how do you do that? Right click on your project, go to your properties, click on Java build path. Out here, go to your libraries and add jars. Now, okay, there you go. And click on add jars. Okay, there's so many features. See, look at the number of buttons that are there in Eclipse IDE. Why do you think there's so many of these? Because as you get into your year 1, 2, and 3 of your Java programming, as a Java developer, let us assume, there's certain features which make your work easier, smarter, and faster. But that they've given a lot of options. You don't get deviated. Do not look at everything. So we went to Java build path. Now, what is Java code style or compiler or editor, Java doc location? Do not put your eyes on them. Put your eyeballs in the main. So you right click. We went to Java build path. Right click, properties, Java build path, in the class path, add jars. Now, archives to be added to the jar. Hello. Let's do add external jars. There you go. It's not the existing ones, the ones which we downloaded. We're gonna add. So let's go downloads. I think this is the one. Yep. 11th September. JUnit 4.11. Open and install. Now, there's nothing called install team. It basically now starts to recognize what is JUnit. It is also loaded into your project. Source folder, JRE system library, referenced libraries. And now your JUnit is here. When you do Apache Pui, it will come here. TestNG, it will come here. Selenium WebDriver, it will come here. Chrome browser, actually Chrome browser won't come here, but it will be there on your machine. So now I will take my mouse over the same statement where it did not give me a great advice earlier, add before. And now see, there were 2 lines out here earlier. Now there are 4. Now that the library is attached, it recognizes, oh, you know what? I know what is add before, and that is a JUnit annotation. Here is how Java works, team. I'll tell it once theoretically. I'll keep mentioning it every day. Java is an extremely smart programming language. How? One of the primary things for Java is very simple thing. All that Java tried to do ever was to be fast. It only cared about speed. If I put more resources in my car, like overloaded, it will not go fast. If I keep stopping in between, it will not go fast. If my engine oil is not good, I'll not go fast. So how do we use resources wisely at the right time so that we can efficiently do that process or the travel? Just imagine, team, if I want to take even a mannequin or one astronaut into space, I will still need to burn down that, thousands and thousands of rocket fuel in those big tanks, right? You're still, the spaceship is going to be humongous. Why? Because it still needs that enough weight to carry that fuel. The maximum weight that any of these rockets are actually carrying is the fuel itself. It is not the payload. It is not the satellite or anything that you're going to launch. It is the fuel that you're going to carry, team. And just imagine for Java, for a simple program, it says, what you want, tell me, then I will start using. Other than that, do not, overload me with so many resources in memory, because it will slow down my speed. Now, I will say, use this before org.junit, the first one. What is the statement? It basically says that, hey, you know what? I have a reference library called JUnit. In that JUnit chart, there are thousands of programs. See, as expanded. In this, I don't want to use everything. I want to use something. So I can load a reference library, but I don't have to use it. And that's the advantage. Now, the same thing on test. I'm taking it and just applying it. I'm going to drive a little bit more deeper later tomorrow, and then the at after. As a Selenium tester, automation engineer, your programming language is very critical. JUnit and TestNG are a good add-ons, very simple, just very little to learn. Now let me show you the execution of this code. I'm going to save this and run this. I'm hoping there is no syntax error. This is the first thing that is critical for us to verify. So this was syntax error for us. If it is, it will show up some red line somewhere. So I could save it. Now I'm going to execute. All right, team, I got a error, and this is something that comes first within Java JUnit. Is it'll tell you if you test how many tests have failed, how long it took, where it failed. It gives you a failure trace where you can go back and diagnose and see why did it fail. But looks like allow access. It is blocking. See, these programs are powerful, team. They're going to do a lot of things on your machine. So it becomes very imperative that we give the right commands and give the right authorizations. Sometimes you may also need to run things as an administrator. I'm going to rerun this, team, without having to look at this defect. All I can see, it took 0.142 seconds to run. See, it counts till milliseconds. It still does the same. Let's see. Where? Let me go to the last line. Yeah. It doesn't tell me anything. No class def found error for what? And 21 more expand, please. Why would I get such an error? You know what? I'm going to do a shortcut. I'll take the help of Google because I don't have time right now. This is the entire thing. I'll take this as is. It's pretty standard, which thousands of Java developers would have found. So I'm going to go to Google and just put this question and see what it does. Okay, Stack Overflow is a great forum community where you will get solutions. I've tried. Okay, I'm going to quickly look at solution. All I wanted to show you is how does a JUnit code work differently from according to dependency. Come on. Chain it for the file. Nah, come on. I wouldn't do all that right now. I mean, why should we do something so complicated? Okay, let's say this. Right click on the project, choose build path, then from the menu, add libraries, choose JUnit and click next. Choose JUnit fourth and finish. That's what we were doing. Team, this is how we're going to be spending the rest of our 2025 sessions. Okay. Once we get through this now, writing a WebDriver code is easy peasy. Right click on the project. He asked me to go to choose build path, then choose add libraries, choose JUnit, then click OK. We did that, but we did add external libraries. So here Java build path libraries, module path, class path, add jars, choose archives. Okay. Trying to quickly solve that. See, that's what I did now earlier. I chose add external jars and I added this. Right? This is the jar I added. But it is not sufficient for it. Applying close. Just try and see. Building workspace encountered problem. And team, just letting you know, Eclipse IDE is also a platform like Selenium IDE, any application, right? So sometimes it can be buggy. Few times errors come without even knowing why it came. So I restart Eclipse, and sometimes it works. So the system gets hung. Okay, I'm sorry, it ran, but this was my old program, not the new one. And team, we have a hard stop. Any questions? It's a continuation, team. DDF. We need to keep working on it. Let me try once again. Why is my DDF JUnit.java coming in reference libraries? Run as JUnit test. Where's the failure trace at least this time? No. This seems to be a little bit about the versions and the way the setting is done, team, nothing else. There's an initialization error also. Package, import, all code, DDF JUnit, this fine, add before, add test, add after. The code looks absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Team, I just thought I'll show you quickly what is JUnit and annotations. It's basically a way where I can write multiple tests. So imagine each of your test cases are there like this. This is my test 1, my test 1. This is my test 2, my test 2, my test 3, my test 3. When I do the execution, at that time, the way the print would come is always this. Say has encountered, it's not even saving. There's a problem with the system, with Eclipse itself. I'm going to close it either way and relaunch, but it's going to be for the next session. So primarily, the print statements, the way it would come out are first at before, then at test 1. We'll get, I'm showing how the execution will be done. Then at after. Again at before, at test 2, at after. Again comes at before, at test 3, at after. What does this mean? Primarily, these annotations before, after, test tell what should be done when. The logic is, before we test something, we want to do a setup of the test. We clean up everything, ensure that it's correctly arranged, and then start it. And then after the test is executed, again we need to undo whatever changes we did, or think of it as any other test, like a chemical lab chemistry test or any other test. Before you test it, you want to do certain actions. After you finish the test, you want to do certain actions. We could have multiple tests, but what happens before each and every test and what happens after each and every test could be common, and that is how JUnit helps us. Right? Very simple structured logic that they put. There's not even a main class that comes into. It's just the structure of what gets executed when, and JUnit gives us that platform. TestNG does the same thing, but in a different, with much more, little bit more advanced features. Both of them are Java frameworks that helps us to test our whatever programs we're writing. We use them in Selenium WebDriver also to a certain extent before we get into automation frameworks. With DDF, I thought I could introduce Java JUnit, little programmings, and finish that. When we come into KDF, we'll get a little bit more advanced into it. Team, any questions? Last 2-3 minutes left for today. We have another corporate training that's starting in the next 2 minutes. I'm going to continue to take your questions, team. The next session, my team will communicate. Just letting you know, I'm also traveling back to Los Angeles starting in the next few hours. So I will be out of pocket for the next 30-40 hours, team. Won't be reachable. And then we're starting the entire thing. There's a big question. I need to, this is a huge question. Okay. Later, yes, I'll copy this, Emma, and I'll take it. Is it okay if I put it here in this document? You sent an email as well. Is it? I'm hoping it's fine if I share it with all. Looks like a big one. I'll come back to it later. I was able to successfully complete. I don't hear any response from IT learned. Okay, so team, if you want spoon feeding, we will give you plenty. You got to be patient. Okay, I don't do spoon feeding. I kind of empower you to know and find the right direction. XPath is the main thing. That is what will be tricky. Now, how will I solve your problem if you're not in front of me and I can't access your application and see what you're doing? In the next class, start doing this thing. All of you start sharing your screens and telling me where is the problem. We'll together discover. Through that, you'll know the process of making it happen. Okay? See, why do you care if you're busy or not? It's not about busy or not. How do we guide you correctly? All right? How can you explain something to my team which is technical during the class, in the class, when I'm asking Q&A, right? It's a typical 60-minute session. Sometimes I extend it till 90. You have plenty of time. Raise your hand, say, I want to share my screen and show you my problem. We'll fix it. Not a problem. All right. All right. Listen, I'm very critical with my training and my feedbacks team. So I will address it as we keep going along. Okay. Stay with it. Thanks, everyone. I have a hard stop. We'll see you back in the next session. Then bye now. Bye all. Thank you.